Okay, we're going to be comparing functions today, and before we can compare functions, we have to remember what each part of the equation represents. So we are going to say y equals mx plus b. We know that b is our slope, which is our rate of change. And b is our y-intercept, which is our initial or starting point. Okay, so first one is Mochi. Mochi the panda cub has been measured and weighed each week since she was born. Weeks is X, weight is Y. We need to find the slope and we need to find the y-intercept. So our m is equal to the change in y over the change in x. What's our change in y? Plus 4. What is our change in x? Plus 1. Slope is 4 over 1, which is equal to 4. So Mochi grows each week 4 pounds, okay, gains 4 pounds each week. What is our B? B is always represented with a 0 for X, and that's clearly recognized right here on our graph as 0, 1. So the equation y equals mx plus b would be y equals 4x plus 1. So Mochi was born at 1 pound, which is our initial value, and gains 4 pounds every week. All right, now what about Mochi's brother Kappa? All right, if we look at our graph, let's identify something first, is that our scale. Our scale on the y-axis is not counting by 4s, they are counting by 2s. So I'm going to fill in the missing values. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Also notice that the x value is really counting by halves, okay? So 1 box is a half. 2 boxes is 1 whole. So we want to keep that in mind when we are counting for our slope. So I'm going to connect 2 points that I can clearly identify, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my first point all the way up to my highest point. And let's remember that m is equal to the change in y over the change in x. Okay. Counting by 2s, because each box is worth 2. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 12 is my change in y. My change in x, I'm going all the way across. Every 2 boxes is 1. So if I jump 2, that's 1. Jump 2, that's 2. Jump 2, that's 3. And jump 2 more, that would be 4. So 12 over 4, which is equal to 3. So my slope is 3. What is my starting point? Where does my graph begin? And that's going to be at 0, 2. Right here is my starting point. So 0, 2 means 2 is my starting point. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals 3x plus 2. So Kappa was born at 2 pounds. That was his starting point. And he gains 3 pounds every single week. So which panda was heavier when they were born? So we know that Mochi was born at 1 pound, That was her initial weight. And Kappa was born at 2 pounds. So who was heavier? Kappa at 2 pounds. Okay, that was his starting point. 2 pounds was his starting point. So he was heavier when he was born. Which panda is growing faster? Which panda is growing faster? So here we looked at the y-intercept. Here we're looking at the slope, because the slope is the rate of change. So who has the larger slope? Mochi or Kappa? And that would be Mochi at 4 pounds. Okay, so Mochi gains 4 pounds a week, and Kappa was gaining 3 pounds a week. Which panda will weigh more at 5 weeks? We need to substitute. So let's do Mochi first. Y equals 4x plus 1. Y equals 4 times 5 weeks plus 1. Y equals 21. Okay, so he will weigh 21 pounds in 5 weeks. What about Kappa? Y equals 3x plus 2. Y equals 3 times 5 plus 2. Y equals 15 plus 2. Y equals 17. So who is going to be the one that weighs more? Which panda will weigh more? And that would be Mochi at 21 pounds. Mochi at 21 pounds. All right, so what do we compare there? We compared a table and a graph. Now in our second problem, we are going to compare an equation with a table. So we really don't need to do much with the equation other than pull out the slope and pull out the y-intercept. All right, so our slope, m, is equal to negative 2 5/10. That would be our slope. Remember, the slope is always attached to the variable. And our b would be 0, 235. So our b is 235. So b is our starting point, and m is our slope, the rate of change. So we are talking about weight loss. So Valerie's weight loss is shown in this equation. So Valerie, she started at 235 pounds, and she loses weight each week, 2.5 pounds each week. So let's see about Oscar. All right, so we need to find the change in y and the change in x. So m is equal to the change in y over the change in x. How much is his weight changing each week? Let's see. Okay, now remember, it's skipping in between here. Okay, this is skipping 0, 2, 5, 6. Well, where's your 1? And where is your 4 and 3 and 4? So we're just going to look here between your 0 and your 2. And that's going to be 2. And what's happening between your 247 and your 243? That is going to be a -4. So that would be a -4 over 2, which is going to equal -2. Okay, so m equals -2. Which one is his starting point. And we all recognize a starting point as 247. So B is 247. So for Oscar, his equation would be y equals negative 2x plus 247. All right, who weighed more at the beginning? Well, who weighed more at the beginning? That is our y-intercept. So Valerie weighed 235 and Oscar weighed 247. Who weighed more at the very beginning? Oscar at 247 pounds. Who is losing weight faster? That's our slope. That's our rate of change. Who's losing more weight each week? Oscar is losing 2 pounds every single week, and Valerie is losing 2.5 pounds every single week. So who is losing the weight faster? That would be Valerie at 2.5 pounds per week.